What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Backpacking Podcast. As always, John Kelly here with my good friend, Jeremiah Stringer. And today we are going solo. There are no guests tonight. We are recording this one for Wednesday.
Is this actually not live?
This is actually not live this time. This is actually not live. So when I say it's not live, I mean, it's not live. I mean, we're live for us, but
yeah, we're in real time, present.
Yeah. There's nobody leaving comments right now. I didn't screw this one up, so we're in good shape.
Hey, I will say Merry Christmas, everybody. Did you see my sweater?
No, there's a big microphone for, it's an elf sweater. I like it. Yeah. I like it, man. That looks really good. Yeah. I mean, it is Jeremiah Stringer we're talking about here, so you know it's got to look good. That's all there is to it.
This is from Bronner's in Michigan. Dude,
Bronner's?
Yeah. Chad from UGQ, he introduced me to the store called Bronner's, and it is 1 million square feet, and it is all Christmas all the time. It's open like 360-something days a year in Frankenmuth, Michigan.
Frankenmuth?
Yeah, it's pretty far north. It's a long drive from my house, but...
So, you're saying good things come out of Michigan?
Did you get rubbed the wrong way by the football?
Oh, trust me, all my Michigan friends let me know just how they beat us 3 years in a row. Yes, I have dealt with that.
Oh,
but
also,
today, I mean, I am rocking. Let's see if we can show you guys this.
Oh, you got the Browns hoodie?
Oh, I got the good old Cleveland Browns hoodie going. Yeah, man, I got to represent.
Dude, I may or may not be going to the Cleveland Browns versus the Bengals in Cincy in January.
Oh, nice.
May or may not. I don't know. We'll see. See if it works out. But if it does, I'm going to go and be entertained by your Browns. I mean, the Bengals don't have Joe Burrow anymore. So
I'll tell you what, though, that Browning guy they got at quarterback's looking pretty dang good. Just saying.
Yeah. He's no Joe Burrow, but yeah, they don't look that bad. They got a little something going right now.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati's quarterback is good, but he's fragile.
Yeah, he gets hurt a lot.
Of course, I can't say anything. So does mine. So it doesn't really matter. So let's talk backpacking, because I'm sure people are going, why are they talking about football? Today we're gonna do kind of a fun little thing that you and I worked up.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of other people, we use our phones for everyday life. We use them for cameras, video cameras. We use them for flashlights, calculators. We browse the internet. We watch YouTube videos. But one of the reasons backpackers use their phones in the backcountry so much is for GPS. And so today, Jeremiah and I have decided we are going to share with you guys our top 5 GPS programs that we like to use personally. And we're going to kind of list those out real quick. Jeremiah will do his first and just let him list them all out and explain why he has them picked the way he does. And if you're watching on the video, you'll get to see those up on the screen. If you're not, you're going to hear about them. And take notes because Jeremiah is probably right and I'm probably wrong on this one. I just know what I like and he knows what he likes. But Jeremiah, would you like to hit that drum roll and share your favorite 5 GPS programs?
Yes, and let me preface this. We are talking the best backpacking apps that the world has to offer. These are the premier apps that everybody should be using.
Everybody.
And if you're using a different app, well, you should probably just throw your phone in the lake.
And I do want to say these are based on personal experience. That's important. That's important. That's important because there's an app that you have on yours that I don't have on mine. And it's not because I don't like the app. It's because I've never used it. So that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means I haven't used it. I have no experience with it.
All right, drum roll, please.
There it is right there, people. Number 1 is...
Far Out, dude. Far Out. This used to be called Gut Hook. Have you ever bought it before?
Yeah, I actually own the program. I've never been on a trail that uses it.
Okay. And then this is ranked from number 1 to last. Also, I'll give an honorable mention to Onyx Backcountry, which I want to talk a little bit more about later. But my number 1 was Far Out. Second best was All Trails. Third is Earthmate. fourth is Gaia, and fifth is Google Translate. More to come on that.
I like it. That's a good list, man. That's a really good list. So, why was Far Out your favorite app of all of them?
Well, as many people already know, I did the Camino de Santiago over the summer, and we were over there for a while. And if you've ever done like the Appalachian Trail or you bought a longer trail on the app Far Out, formerly known as Gut Hook, then you know that it's like a really good app. I mean, it tells you everything that you need to know whenever it comes to the trail. It has like the water sources, it has the shelters, it has like spots of interest, it has side trails, it has like you can comment as a user. So, I mean, the only thing it doesn't have is pictures, and I think it did have pictures on there before, but like they took it off because it's just way like think about how many thousands of people download Far Out for just the Appalachian Trail every year. So
Oh
you've got
yeah.
to
Yeah.
imagine if you're the person that's hosting this app, like having that much user input has to be more expensive. And like there's not enough people to sift through the information. We're not talking about like Google resources. We're talking
Right.
about, a backpacking app. But I'll tell you on the Camino, I used it on there literally all the time because while you're using it, you can click and it'll tell you exactly how far away you are by the trail from wherever you're going. So like if we're trying to stop at this place and have lunch, I click on it and it says, you're 2.4 kilometers from there. And then you can really gauge how long it's going to take you. It's got an elevation profile. I mean, I could sing the praises all day. And I think they're adding the Sheltoe Trace on there. So if you're
Actually, they just did this past year. They just added it.
oh, see, there you go. And it's got all kinds. It's got all the major long trails, across the US. But yeah, I definitely would suggest downloading it if there's ever a trail that you're going to be doing that's on there because it's worth it. I think it was like $10 to buy the Camino for the route that we did. And
Yeah.
I think the Appalachian Trail was $60. So I think it's well worth it, to have access to all that.
Yeah, and what little I've had the chance to play around with it, it is nice where it shows um, not only elevation profiles and the maps themselves, but it also does show like water sources and campsites, and I mean those things are huge. Um, that
I'll
so
tell
that
you,
that is nice.
while I was on the long trail, the main thing that I used it for was dread. I would basically just use it to psych myself out over and over and over. Here's what you do. You go on the elevation profile and you say, I have to climb this mountain and there are no switchbacks. So if you're looking at the elevation profile of where you're at, it kind of shows you on the GPS, it puts you on the side profile of that. And then you can zoom in and the screen will tell you what the grade is. So, like if I'm going up 900 feet per mile, or maybe it's 900 feet, half a mile, or whatever, just some extreme mountain, you know ahead of time how much this is going to suck. So I did that over and over and over.
So
Every time it's like a
so you
gut punch.
use the app to embrace the suck.
Yeah, that's one way to describe it.
Nice, nice. So number two on yours was All Trails. This is kind
Yeah.
of controversial that it's that high on your list, so I'm curious about what you think.
Well, why do you think it should be lower?
I'm just saying what other people say. Like, one
Oh,
of my
okay.
favorite videos that's come out, and we actually showed it a few weeks ago on the show, was a girl saying, "We're hikers. We use all trails even though we know it could kill us." You know?
Well, at me, if you don't use All Trails, I think All Trails is great. It's like the Equate version of
The equate
Far Out.
version?
Yeah, it's like if you went to Walmart and you're like, man, I can't afford, the good Q-tips. I'm not going to
Mhm.
get the box that says Q-tips. I'll get the Equate, or I'll get the cheap milk. I'll go with the great value.
Yeah. Sam's Best or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's like the store brand of apps, but it gets the job done and users can add data. So like if you're out in the woods, you can take a picture of the campsite and then whenever you get home or if you have service, you can upload that and then people can turn that on to where they can see your picture and your campsite and your comments, etc. So I think it's great for discovering.
You ever bit your tongue listening to someone talk before?
No, it's probably because you're wanting to talk so bad. I can
I
see you're ready.
I literally just bit the inside of my mouth when I wanted to talk, but you were going, so I had to stop myself. When I did, I literally just bit right here. And if anybody was watching
Oh,
online, you probably saw me make a weird face and then kind of do this and then rub my that's what happened.
you're
I didn't
good.
want to cut in on you, but
Well,
I do
thanks for
want to
being
say a
so
major
understanding.
con of all trails if I can.
Okay, go ahead.
The fact that users can put trails on there is also a major con.
Yeah.
I almost got into what could have been a very serious accident because of someone putting the wrong trail on all trails.
Oh, what happened?
I was in North Carolina at oh, what is it? What's the gorge there?
Linville?
The Linville Gorge. I was at the Linville Gorge, and someone had put a trail on and said you could take this and connect it from this place to this place and hike around. So I jumped on that trail and was hiking along. I got to where I was supposed to be able to walk across, and it was a 50 to 75-foot drop off.
Oh, good Lord.
Had that been at night, I could have been in some serious trouble because I wouldn't have. You might not have seen it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, and so you've got to be really careful. One of the things that a little spoiler, All Trails is also on my list. But the thing that I like about All Trails is I can take that GPS file that I make from a trip and put it in a more trustworthy uh, app that can show me if the trail's actually there, and that's really nice. So, but I do want to say, if you're using All Trails, use some wisdom with it because just because it's in there doesn't mean it's actually a trail. And I can't tell you. I've talked to several different forest rangers and stuff who have said that All Trails is the biggest culprit they know of for people getting lost because people put trails on there that aren't there and claim that they're trails. So just heads up on that one.
Yeah, can I play devil's advocate to your devil's advocate?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Alright.
It
Yeah.
wouldn't be a good podcast if you didn't.
Yeah, some controversy, some conflict. Okay, so what would be your rebuttal if, you know, somebody were to say, "It's on the person going into the outdoors to make sure they're prepared and to make sure that they have researched or called the necessary people." You know, like we went to Cumberland Gap and I had to go to the visitor center and pick up permits. And then, like, she helped me map out the camp spots and show me the trails and all this and sent me on my way with like 5 maps. So I know that's not available for all areas because that was a National Park Service and that was federal
Right.
land. So, what would you say, though, to the people that say, yeah, that's on the person who is the user of the app, and maybe check the sources. So if the app tells you that it's user generated versus the app developer generated, which I don't know if they even do trails on there, it might all be user
Yeah.
generated. I have no idea. But what would you say to that person that says it's on the hiker?
I would say I just said the same thing. Like, double check the maps. You know, like that's what I do. Like I don't trust All Trails, but I do like going to All Trails to see if there's places I haven't been to, and then I pull it into other apps. I'll do some research and see if the trails are there, and then I'll go. But All Trails is great for discovering stuff, I think.
That is exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I
It's
think
my
I think
number
All
one
Trails is good for
discovery.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can, like, you can zoom in on a region and then it shows like, oh, there's 8 trails on this area, or you can like search an area. But I'll tell
Right.
you, they need to optimize their search.
Yeah,
I
they do.
I love All Trails, and we've worked with them a little bit on this podcast. Actually, they helped us with some giveaways and gave away some year subscriptions, and that was
So
awesome. But
we're
they need
part
to
of the problem.
well, you're right. They're not paying me today,
But in all
but
seriousness, no, I mean, All Trails is a great program. I mean, it's on my list too, and you'll find out about that in a little bit. But uh, you just use wisdom. I mean, if you see something that's not a normal trail and it does say that it's an unmarked trail, do a little research. Make sure you find out for a fact that that's there. Because, like I said, I could have been really hurt if I had trusted what was on the trail that I
Mhm.
saw on there.
Yeah. You wanna bring the list back up?
Oh man, more than anything in the world. Are we gonna do the drum roll? I'm just kidding.
So Earthmate, dude. Earthmate, this is something that, I could gripe on a little bit.
Oh
I feel
yeah,
like I paid hundreds of dollars for a Garmin InReach Mini, and with it comes some software, and maybe it's my fault because I haven't taken the time to figure out how to, like, upload the maps that you can make. I think it's a GPX file. You can put those on your watch because I have a Garmin InReach, and then I have the EarthMate app on my phone, which
Hmm.
lets you text with it, and then I have a Garmin Phoenix 6, which is like the
That's a great watch.
last year's model of the Garmin Phoenix, or
Which
the
it was
previous.
great last year and it's great this year. It's a good watch.
Yeah, it's been doing great, and, I could sing the praises of that all the time. It's my daily wearing watch, but I'll tell you, I feel like that everything on my phone, my watch, and my Garmin InReach should be, like, totally synchronized. It should be like Apple products, dude. It should be like when I go from one device to the other, I don't have to think about it. I shouldn't
Right.
have to go to the Connect app on my phone to see my steps and my energy levels and all the data from my watch, and then go to a different app to text on the Garmin InReach, and then in that app have to go to a different menu to do different stuff with the map.
Hmm.
I really like the app, and it's super accurate, and you can, like, download and do stuff offline just like the other ones. But the thing that I don't like is that it's not a natural transition between the different parts that Garmin owns. Like, come on,
Hmm.
Garmin, this is a tens of
So,
millions of dollars company.
so you're saying they need an all-in-one app that just does it all?
Yeah, why wouldn't they already have that? I don't get it.
I don't know, man. They're not Apple.
Yeah, you got that right. I have an iPhone.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So you've
makes
got
me think.
you've got that as your number two. Your number three is
No, that
Gaia
was
GPS.
that was my number
Oh,
three
I
because
mean, sorry, your
Fallout's
number
number one.
four is Gaia GPS.
Yeah, Gaia, the only reason that's on the list is because other people, for some reason, always send me files to open on Gaia. So maybe they know something I don't, and maybe it is one of the best apps out there. I've used it a few times on trips. I think I used it last time I was in the Smokies, but I'm not a huge fan. I feel like there's a learning curve whenever it comes to using it. And I feel like if you are going to design technology like this, then you should think it out in such a way that it's going to be like my grandma could use it, is the way that it should be, you know? So having to do, I know it gets a little bit complicated whenever you're making your own files and then you're uploading them and stuff, but I think that make it easy to use. So that's why it's so far down the list for me.
Fair enough, man. Well, you want to see what? Let's talk about your fifth one
Yes, my fifth one is
because
Google Translate.
this is definitely not a backpacking app. So I'm curious, like where you're going with this. I'm assuming it has to do with you being overseas.
Yes, whenever we were on the Camino, this was in Spain. So obviously Spain, they speak Spanish. And if you will download, English and Spanish so that you can use it offline on the app, it will help save your life. Maybe literally. But for real, like if you're just, trying to get a drink, or you're trying to check in, or you're trying to ask somebody a question, like you can speak and then it will translate exactly what you said into their language. So I'll give you an example. Dude, my friend Clemens, poor guy, he has a passport card because he's in the European Union.
Mhm.
And his passport card, he doesn't need to take his passport everywhere. They can just like travel back and forth between the countries, that's part of the European Union. So this is
Mhm.
his ID, right? And he leaves it in one of the hostels, and then doesn't know it, and not the next night but the next one. So it had stayed at the hostel for a
2
night
nights.
without him knowing it was gone. And then we got to the hostel the next day, and at this point, you're like, I don't know, 40 kilometers away or something. You'd have to take a taxi back. Like, you're not going to be able to walk that in a day. Like, that's a full day's walk, like a 12-hour walk or something.
Yeah.
That's far. So, anyway, the Google Translate app saved our behinds because he didn't speak Spanish.
Right.
He's Dutch. So
Okay, shoot straight with me for a second.
yes.
How entertaining was it listening to a Dutch guy try to speak Spanish?
He knew some stuff, man. It was his 4th Camino. He knew how to say stuff like,
But what about the
slang.
accent? What did a Dutch accent sound like doing Spanish?
It probably sounded better than mine. I mean, I'm gringo, right?
That's
I
great.
got no leg to stand on whenever it comes to my accent.
Fair
So I
enough. Fair enough.
better not make too much fun, but
You're
yeah,
sounding awful Appalachian racist right now.
yeah, there's some linguistic racism in it. So he, uh he had me to help him. We kinda used the app to translate back and forth with the lady at the hostel and had her to call the previous hostel so they could speak in Spanish to try to convey where's the passport. Turns out, though, hopefully I'm not spoiling his video if he's putting that in there, but turns out that the police had his passport. Yep, and,
Wow.
we done the rest of the trip without it because he had a picture of it on his phone. So everywhere we went was okay with just a photo of his passport card, which could have
Okay.
been totally fraudulent.
Potentially.
Yeah,
Potentially.
but it wasn't. You can trust those people.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, the
Well, that's an
Netherlands.
awesome list, man. Let's
Yeah.
review it one more time just to make sure people can see that Far Out was your number 1, your number 2 was All Trails. Earthmate comes in at number 3, Gaia GPS at 4, and it's closed out with Google Translate as your number 5 app. So
Mhm.
Jeremiah, would you like to see my top 5 list?
I'm ready. You ready for a drum roll?
I'm just hoping I don't get booed at the end of the drum roll. So
Oh, here we go.
there it is right there. So for my top 5, I actually went with Gaia GPS as number 1. All Trails came in at number 2 on mine as well. Avenza apps or maps, I'm sorry, Avenza maps came in at number 3, Onyx Backcountry at 4, and Natural Atlas at 5. So funny you were
Wow.
talking about Gaia. One of my favorite things about Gaia is how easy it is to use.
Oh my gosh, how lazy am I to not go in there and
Seriously,
figure out how to use it?
I've I've done trips all over the place using Gaia, and
Uh-huh.
all you have to do is click where the trail starts and just click at points throughout the trail, and it makes the map as you go. And you can do this on any trail. It's got off trails at different places, um, and I love it because all I have to do is do that and save it. And the moment I save it online, it saves to my phone. So when I pull up my phone, that map's there and ready to go. Um, which is awesome. I don't have to, like, download it to my phone or anything. It updates. And, so that's great because the moment you open up your phone after you've uploaded it online, you're ready to run. And, it's great. One of the things I love too with All Trails is I'll take an All Trails trail,
Mhm.
I will download the GPX file from it and drop it into Gaia and then go in and fix the things that I need to fix. So, I mean, I think it's great. It gives you the elevation profiles. It'll have little markings where campsites are on the website online. And of all the online websites, I really like Gaia's the best. For me, it's just been so easy to use, and you can download so many different layers for the maps. So if you want a topo map, you can download a topo map, and that can be your map. If you want something with like your standard map like you get on a lot of the apps, you can do that. They've got I can't even name all the different maps. I think the layers there's like 10 different layers or something like that that you can throw on for a map. And you can change the opacity on those so that they can overlay over one, but you can still see what's underneath it. And yeah, so I'm a huge Gaia fan, like massive Gaia fan, and I've been using it now for 5 years, and I love the app, like tremendously love the app. Pay for it every year because I think it's worth it. So
Let me ask you a couple questions about it.
yeah,
So, I pay for all trails, and I can look on the subscriptions on my phone. I think it's like $25 a year.
yeah,
So, I'm wondering, is Gaia about the same amount?
I think it's 30.
The All Trails is 35.99. I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's like I think Gaia's 30 or 35, maybe it might be
Okay.
35.
So they're probably comparable or within
Yeah,
5, $10 of each other.
yeah, but I pay for both, to be honest. I pay for both of them because I think they're both they both have their own uses. I think All Trails is good for looking stuff up. I think Gaia is good for building the maps because I like to
Okay.
build trips and actually do my own thing, and it's a whole lot easier to do it on Gaia than it is on anywhere else, I think.
See, I build the maps on all trails. And then it like I guess it saves to the cloud like you're saying with Gaia, and then
Right.
if you wanna access it online, you open the app and you click on download.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you this I'm gonna throw a little shade at Mr. Backpacking with Jason, sir.
He loves All Trails.
He loves all trails, but he doesn't love the update.
Oh,
Do you
really?
know? Yeah, you know what? Have you used it since the update?
No. I'm gonna
They
pull it up right now while
updated
you're talking about it.
well, they updated it and they changed the menus around, like, just a little bit. So, like,
Oh, they did.
before yeah, before some stuff was in some different locations, but here's the number one problem that Jason has with it. Remember, he's backpacking with dad, all right? So don't forget that. So,
You're right about
he
that.
he has his phone set on the largest font possible. Okay, so when he opens his iPhone, like mine is normal. Mine is like whatever the default percentage of the zoom is, mine is at. And I realize that may change in 10 years when I turn 40. Okay. But until then, I can make fun of Jason for it. So without his readers, he can see his phone still, but since the font is set at such a large text, it blocks his view on all trails. So he gets like just this little bitty window. So he's trying to like you put your finger
That's awesome.
on the elevation profile and you can see it like live on the map where that would be. And so
Oh,
like when you
man.
move it on the elevation profile, it traces it on the map with the little cursor.
Right.
Well,
He
he
can't see
can't
it.
see the map, no, because it's like, a tenth of the screen is all that's showing. So, I tried to tell him to just turn his font, and he's like, "It's not the font, it's the app." I was like,
Yeah.
"Well, it worked fine before."
Yeah, a
So,
lot of
maybe he
people don't realize that Jason and I are the same age.
should You're both young at heart.
But I just love calling him backpacking with dad when we're the exact same age. There's just something fun about that.
Yeah, I
So,
agree.
okay, so that's my number one's Guy, and my number two is All Trails, and I think we've talked enough about All Trails at this point and how I like to use it that we don't need to talk about that anymore. But I do wanna go to my number 3 because this may not be a familiar one with a lot of people, but Avenza Maps is one I really have grown to like. And Avenza Maps is one you use in certain locations. One of the big ones would be, Linville Gorge. It's kinda like
Why
the
is
gut hooks for Linville Gorge, when you use it. It has all the water sources down there because there's not a huge through hike trail that goes through the Linville Gorge, so you're not gonna find it on far out. Um,
doesn't the sea to something go through there?
maybe.
What's that called?
Oh, yeah, Sea
I
to
don't even
Summit?
remember.
No.
It's not sea to summit. That's
The Sea to
almost what
Summit,
I
it's
said, but
the I know
that's
what you're
okay.
talking about, it's Oceans to Trails? Is that what it's called?
Sea to trails? I don't
I
know.
don't know,
I'm
I know
pretty
what
sure
you're
that
talking about, though, but yeah, that
probably the
does go through
biggest
there,
trail.
but you can't do, like, any of the loops or anything like that on far out.
Right, right.
So,
Yeah,
like, if you're a weekend warrior and you're doing trails that aren't long trails, far out is very useless,
yeah.
because you just can't use it for those trips, um, which doesn't make far out a bad app, it's just it has a very specific use for it. But Avenza, you can do all kinds of trip planning and stuff with it. I don't like it as much as Gaia, and it doesn't have as many trails on it as All Trails as far as, like, when you do searches, but there are certain places where if you go, you can use Gaia and All Trails all you want, but it's not gonna be as good as Avenza. And so, Avenza really has a place in there where it belongs, and the Linville Gorge is a big one, and honestly, I'm glad that somebody, that I saw on trail when I was there showed that to me, because 'cause I'd never used it, didn't even know the app existed, and I missed a water supply on my way to my camp, and I remember having to, I had to filter water out of a pond that was just disgusting. I mean, the water didn't taste it was I mean, it was clean, it was filtered, but it tasted you know how it is. If water tastes bad, the filter's not getting rid of the taste.
I was
And
gonna ask you if you could taste, like, it almost tastes swampy.
yeah, oh, it did. It was gross. It didn't smell bad. It was just the taste. But I
Yeah,
mean,
you gotta use
I'll have to find a picture and show you sometime. I had my water bag and I had filled it up and it was like almost black because of all
Oh,
of the like algae and bugs and stuff that got in there when I was doing the water.
what filter did you use?
I used the platypus quick draw.
Okay, got the job
So,
done?
oh man, tore it up. It was awesome.
Hmm, I
Absolutely
stopped
awesome. I
using
mean,
mine.
yeah, I had to clean that filter out when I got home. It was
Oh, yeah.
when I back flushed it, man, it was disgusting, the stuff that was coming out of the back end of it. But
You
the water
know,
came out clean, there were no particles, nothing. I mean, they did a great job.
I should've kept all these filters that I've tossed, over the years
Yeah.
and cut them all in half.
I've still got all of mine.
Yeah, why don't you cut them all in half?
Well, it's kinda hard. I don't wanna destroy them yet. I need to get a second one of most of them before I do that.
What how many filters does a man need?
Well, if you're doing videos on filters, you gotta have filters to show people.
Yeah, yeah. Well, mine
I
would have just
mean,
been props then, because once mine stop up
you
and
throw it
dude,
away?
I back flush them. No, I back flush them, but once it gets to the point where it's too annoying, then I say, "Ah, what's another $30? Throw that in the trash," pay and just buy a new
Yeah.
that's the American way, right? Throw that
Yeah.
one away, it's inconvenient. I'll
Yeah.
just buy a new one.
So, anyways, that was Avenza Maps. Um,
Yeah, I've
it
never, used Avenza Maps, and I Googled it, just to look at some images of kinda what the user interface looks like, and, I'm wondering, is it all over the US or all over the world that you can use this, or is it mostly localized to Linville Gorge?
it's not mostly localized to Linville Gorge, just Linville Gorge is one of those ones that it just does a great job with.
Okay.
So,
Uh,
there are certain places because it's also very user friendly as in, like, almost like social networking, people will put stuff on it. And
and
so, apparently, somewhere along the way in the Linville Gorge, everybody was using Avenza apps and putting it stuff on there. And I hear there's several places like that through the US that have used Avenza maps that way. So,
did it have mostly, you think it was mostly Android phones? Because that's the vibe I'm getting just from a quick Google search.
I have genuinely no idea on that one.
Mm.
No clue
Alright,
on that.
go ahead,
But,
go ahead.
so that was my number 3. My number 4 on the list was Onyx Backcountry. And honestly, the only reason Onyx is getting on there is because of an update they did recently. For me, Onyx is it's okay. I mean, it's not bad, but I feel like they took the hiking project. I don't know if you remember the hiking project app that REI
Mm.
used to have, and I use that app a lot on the Sheltowee Trace. Um, because Gaia, one of the faults of Gaia is that when you're hiking, there's not an elevation profile you can look at while you're hiking. So if there's a big hill coming, you need to find a way to find that. And a lot of times I do. I use the hiking project for that. But they took the hiking project and kind of tried to morph it into the hiking project meets Gaia. Um, and it's okay. I mean, some people, if that's what you learn on, you're probably gonna love it. You're probably gonna think it's the greatest app ever, and you're gonna want to use it all the time. But for me, at least when I've used it, it's been glitchy. I've lost connection with it before. Um, I've had maps that I downloaded onto my phone and they just disappeared. Um, but I do like the one update that I like that they have right now, and I'm a big fan of, is you can see property lines on it, which I really like that because here in Kentucky, anyways, with the Daniel Boone National Forest, a lot of the Daniel Boone is owned as private property. And if you're not careful, you could set up your tent and stuff and it be on someone's property and not know it and get yourself in trouble. And so that was a great update. I wish the other apps would kind of follow suit on that one. I'm sure you have to get some kind of licensing to have that kind of right, but it is nice. Actually, Onyx started out as a hunting app, um, and they were created for deer hunters mostly, or big game hunters. Um, who were trying to find where the land that they were hunting on ended so that they didn't break laws and get themselves in trouble and all that, get fined and all that kind of stuff. So it was more geared towards that. And then they decided a few years back to go ahead and enter into the backcountry backpacking crowd. So it's a good app. It's just for me, it's a number 4 because um, I've used it. It's not bad. It's just if I'm going to use one, I'll stick with Gaia for what it does as opposed to Onyx. And then my last one is probably one a lot of people haven't heard of. It's called Natural Atlas. It's a little bit newer, and I haven't used it a lot, but I like the potential of it. I think it's who was it that was using this online? My Life Outdoors. Uh, he was using this with his on his channel one day, and so I contacted him and asked him about it, and he said he loves it. It's his favorite app, and dude knows his stuff. So I figured I'd at least download it and check it out. I haven't paid for it, but the paid options seem like they're pretty solid. It's more one that I have up there just because I'm curious about it more than anything else.
What's it
Um,
called?
Natural Atlas. I keep saying natural. I'm trying to say Atlas for some reason instead of Atlas, but
Natural
Natural
Atlas?
Atlas. Yeah,
Atlas is in, like, the old maps?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just gave it
One
a
of the
quick.
things I like about Natural Atlas is they actually give you street views, which is really nice. A lot of your hiking apps don't give you street views of on the maps where you can actually see like buildings and stuff if you zoom in. Um, which could be really useful if you're doing a long hike and you're having to do a stop in town. That would be really useful to have. I mean, a lot of people just use Google Maps for that, but I mean, if you had it all in one app and you didn't have to use 2 different apps to do it, that would be good.
Can
So,
you do Street View on Google Maps on your phone?
on Google you can, yeah, but not the other hiking apps.
No, but on Google Maps on your phone, like,
Yeah.
you can do Street View.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I haven't tried it. I know you can do it on the computer. You just drop the little yellow man.
Yeah.
Used to be the coolest thing ever, dude. You know?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Internet
And I
came
do
out,
and
Google.
I gotta say too, I do have an app that's not a hiking app, so I didn't put it on here. But I do have a special mention for, one app that I use on almost all my hikes just to kinda track how I'm doing, and that's Strava. Um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I use that so much when I get done with a hike, um, I set my Apple Watch up and my other watch that I have, my Sunto watch, so that they send a signal to Strava and post my hikes to that. So I've got really good like metrics as far as like how fast was I hiking, what was my cadence like, what was my heart rate like as I was hiking, um, all those kinds of things. So for like the fitness end of hiking, Strava is just an awesome app.
Do you, attach pictures and stuff to Strava? Or do
Sometimes,
you?
yeah, yeah, I do
Okay.
sometimes.
Now, whenever I was on the Camino, somebody had an app like Strava, and he showed me, like, trips that he had been on, and then it'll put a little montage together for you, and it'll, like,
Oh wow,
it'll follow behind, like, if kinda like Google Earth, so you can see the elevation and, like, the terrain and stuff, and it'll just zoom real quick across, wherever you backpacked or hiked, and then it'll, like, show pictures along the way and stuff. Very, very cool. I
it is
think
cool.
it was something penguin. Gosh, I'll have to text him and ask what it
Penguin?
was. Yeah, I don't know. He's this is Steve from California. California Steve. We had a bunch of different Steves on trail. California Steve travels a lot. Like, I think he's sort of, like, right now on
Is it a hiking app?
I don't know if it's necessarily hiking. I think it's more of a fitness and memories app. It's like Strava, but it puts together a presentation for you for the trip, which I thought was really cool. I was already recording my trip and everything, so I didn't know how applicable it'd be, but after seeing, like, it follow behind you, kind of like walking in third person
Yeah.
along the trail, I was like, "Yeah, that would be great B-roll and would, like, really it would be good setup shots for,
So do you have to
you know,
have it set up
YouTube."
with a camera or a
No, it's just like in the app, it's tracking your fitness, and then, like, when you take a picture somewhere, it automatically uploads it to the app.
interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to ask him what it is. You think that before we wrap, we can talk a little bit about Onyx? Because I had,
Yeah, you said you had a story about Onyx that you wanted to share,
well,
and,
I don't know if it's necessarily a story. I just when Onyx Onyx was Onyx Hunt,
Mhm.
and they have this technology, like you said, where you can see property boundaries. So I got a
Mhm.
buddy he works for the Forest Service, and they go out and mark timber and stuff like that, and he uses it to see those boundary lines, and that's a U.S. federal,
Yeah.
employee doing
Yeah.
woodwork. So it's fairly official. You got to be pretty accurate. And then I think they integrated that same technology in Onyx Off Road or something like that.
Yeah.
They have the
Yeah.
off roading app. I don't remember what it's called.
Well,
And
I think it's Onyx Off-Road. I think it's what it's
okay,
called.
so that was really popular. And then I got on board. Somebody hooked me up with one of the reps at Onyx, and they offered me a contract, like advertise for them for so many months on YouTube, and I accepted the contract and used the app and everything. And I gotta say, the app was great, but I feel like their number one issue is whenever you're trying to get people to use that app, there there's only two models you can use and make money. You can either make people pay a subscription or you can put advertisements on it. Like those are your two options in
Right.
modern American consumerism culture. So they went the route of making you do a subscription. So you can get a free subscription, but I think it's only 7 days. And then after that, there's no free version unless they've changed it since I worked with them. So I think their number one barrier, they have so much money because they already were so big in the hunting world.
Oh,
So that
yeah.
company
Yeah.
has thousands of employees and millions of dollars. So, they have a pretty good budget. So they bought several apps, including the hiking project that was by REI.
Right.
And, I went to like click on a map that was via the hiking project and it took me to the Onyx app. So
Yeah.
like, my phone has uninstalled the Hiking Project app because I hadn't opened it in so long, like the auto iPhone, like, it adds it to the cloud, but you'd have to
Yeah.
re-download it to use it. So, I don't know if I can even re-download it. Like, I
I'm
don't
doing it
know.
right now.
Yeah, see if you can open it, 'cause
It just installed it.
if I had to guess, it's gonna give you a link to Onyx or something. I
Actually,
like it.
no, it just picked up, where I'm at.
Oh,
Let me see if
really?
I can
Still works?
it's still but it's very much Onyxy. I mean,
Well, I don't know why you wouldn't try to push all those customers to Onyx and then just shut that app down. If you can buy
yeah.
all the other apps and kill them, you have to be the number one app.
Right.
So, I I just thought it was interesting working with them and really getting, like, kinda like a fly on the wall type
Yeah.
deal to see how a backpacking app company develops and how much feedback that they accept from, the people they're working with. And,
Right.
we didn't break up with any bad blood or anything. I don't think I made them enough money for them to keep paying me
Yeah.
is, you know,
Well, I will say, I mean, I'm looking at, uh, the hiking project right now, and it's still up, but it looks like Onyx Backcountry. And Onyx Backcountry, if everybody knows about it, it's a big blue square with an X in it. I'll bring up the logo on screen, so if you're watching the video, you can see it. But it's just that big blue square with an X in it. Well, the hiking project just looks like Onyx with green. So I mean, it's really all it's
they
different.
they copied the
So
app over, copy and
yeah.
paste that code.
Basically. So, yeah, man, it's amazing the different apps that are out there. There was a story I read recently, and this is just some encouragement for people. Like if you're out and you're wanting to do some backpacking, use backpacking apps that are trusted with trails. Don't get on Google Maps and try to hike with it. There was actually a guy recently in I want to say like Virginia who was hiking with Google Maps and got lost, and they had to um, bring out a rescue copter to get him because he got so deep into the woods and he didn't know where he was because he was trying to hike using Google Maps. Don't do
Mm.
that. Like, if you're gonna take your hiking seriously, don't do something that's gonna get you lost and potentially hurt just because it's free. Like, fork out $30. It's worth it, especially if you're wanting to go several times a year. Uh, Find something that's gonna be like help you and keep
You
you
know, or
safe.
at least use the free version and then just endure the advertisements integrated into the app.
Yeah, yeah, and
Can
and also a lot of the programs won't let you make your own maps unless you pay for it. So if you're
Oh,
someone who
yeah.
wants to create your own adventure, then you probably need to do that. And I would say do it. Like I know it's money and but I pay for it out of my own pocket every year because I believe like the last thing I want my wife to have to worry about is whether or not I'm coming home. So
Mm.
make sure you do it. I just think it's wise. There's a lot of wisdom in using the right gear, and part of that right gear is also finding the right programs to use if you're going to use GPS.
I totally agree. This is going to be a bit of a somber and a mood change here, but I want to say one last thing before we got off here. I meant to say it at the beginning of the episode, but I forgot. We had, I don't know if you met him,
Yeah.
but John Coffey, I first met him at the Ohio YouTube meetup. And
Mhm.
he's such a sweetheart. You know, I subscribe to his channel, watch his videos. But unfortunately, as some of you may have seen, um, he has passed away.
Mhm.
So I think due to some health complications, but our thoughts and prayers with him and his family. And
Yeah, John was a genuinely kind person. He was a
yeah,
genuinely kind person, and I remember when I got started in YouTube, I think he watched every video and commented on every single one. You know, just a genuinely nice man. I know he'd been fighting health battles for a few years and finally had to succumb to those. And so, definitely, our prayers are out for his family and friends as they're mourning right now the loss of a good man. And so, maybe take some time over the next couple days and hug and love on the people around you. Don't take them for granted because you never know what one day is going to lead to the next one.
lovely. Good closing, John.
So,
Nicely done.
with that said, thank you so much for tuning into the Backpacking Podcast. For myself and Jeremiah Stringer, we will catch you guys on the next one.
Adios, folks.